All the dads out there, I would say this is the time to really show your support for your daughters.
What do I love about being a girl dad? I love how much smarter she is than all the guys in the room already. I can tell that she's gonna be a powerhouse. She is already at 2.5.
My daughter's 22 and a half, is a feminist, incredibly strong, and has really just inspired me in so many ways. I love her.
I'm the proud dad of Ella over here.
My vote for Kamala is an investment in my daughter's future.
I agree, I'm right there with you.
When the Dobbs decision came out 2+ years ago, I heard from Kamala right away, and then the next person was Ella. She texted me right away, essentially saying, we need to fight. This is not just an issue for women. This is an issue for men and families.
This is such an odd take. This is such a, not even odd, this is a perverse, immoral thing to do. As a man, as a parent, I don't care. And it's not just Ben Stiller and Doug Emhoff and whoever else. It's like a rash of leftist, liberal men on social media who will say things like, I have a baby daughter, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, I have a minor daughter, and I'm voting for Kamala, I'm voting for someone who's going to protect her rights. And let's be honest, it's literally always just about abortion. What the women's rights movement, the entire summation of it in 2024 is abortion, which is pretty pathetic because abortion is ending the life of your own offspring. That's what amounts for women's rights in 2024. Making sure that we can end the lives of our own offspring in a bloody mess, usually, in a painful process, in an emotionally scarring process. That is what is women's rights in 2024. And on top of that, it is very odd to be thinking about your minor daughter and her future sex life and whether or not she's going to be able to end the life of your own grandchild in the future. Because that's what that is. Your minor daughter was at one point inside of your wife or inside of her mother. And you personally were excited when you found out that your wife or your girlfriend or your woman, whoever it was pregnant with your child. You were excited and good for you. But in that same vein, your daughter someday, if she ever gets pregnant, God forbid, unexpectedly or unwantedly, that will be your grandchild inside of your daughter. Your grandchild, her son or daughter, inside of her. And the fact that maybe she's not looking forward to it in the same way that you were when you found out that your wife, that your girl was pregnant, that doesn't negate the humanity, the life inside of your daughter, who is your grandchild. At fertilization, a whole individuated, genetically distinct, living human organism with an entirely unique set of DNA is formed. And all the DNA required to grow into the baby, into the 2.5-year-old, into the adolescent, into the young woman that your daughter is or will eventually be was present at fertilization. And the same goes for your granddaughter, your grandchild, your grandson. If ever your daughter becomes pregnant, no matter whether it is desired or unexpected, whatever the case may be, that's your grandchild. And while it's not my goal that you force your daughter, your grown daughter, to do any type of thing, it would be my goal that as a father, especially as a parent at all, that you raise your daughter to value life, that you raise your daughter to be responsible around the act that creates life, which we all know. We all know that engaging in physical intimacy can lead to becoming pregnant or making a girl pregnant. We know that. And you have no right to sex without consequences, to sex divorced from its natural consequences. You know, it's funny, the pro-abortion side will always say things like, we just want to control women's bodies and we just want women to procreate, some kind of weird Handmaid's Tale thing. They try to suggest that we want to divorce sex from the fact that it is pleasurable and we just want it to be procreation. And we don't, actually. Physical intimacy is pleasurable, but it's also procreational. And just like it's foolish to say, hey, this is just here for procreation, you're not supposed to enjoy it at all, it's equally as foolish to say, this is just here for pleasure, you're not supposed to procreate, you should be able to not procreate, you should be able to end the life of your own child. Physical intimacy is inherently pleasurable and also procreational. Those two things. And to attempt to divorce it from one of those aspects and only uphold the other is foolishness on either side. So I would hope that as a dad, as a parent, you would raise your daughter to understand that and to be mindful of who she gives herself to. And if you have a son, I would hope you would raise him to also be mindful of who he gives himself to. You guys mentioned men. This is important for men in this video.
Of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care. Men are more free.
The only way in which abortion access, abortion rights is important to men is men who are players, men who want to hit it and quit it, men who want to abuse women, use women, and then not have to deal with the consequences for 18 years. That's the only way in which abortion is important to men. That's the only way in which abortion access is important to men. Now, certainly on the flip side, there are pro-life men who care about protecting life, and that is valid because men should have a say in the fate of their own offspring. You have two people, you have a man and a woman, and they both partake in the same exact act. And you can call it a mistake, you can call it a sin, whatever it is, but they both partake in the same exact act, yet only one of them has a say over the fate of their own offspring. That's not fair. And if the woman decides that she wants to have the baby, well, then the man is on the hook financially for 18 years. We live in a society wherein women can shirk parental responsibility, but men cannot. And if they do, they're called deadbeats. But when women do it, we're called, just exercising our rights and you go, girl. So I would hope that you would raise your sons and your daughters to understand this. Because if abortion rights, if abortion access is important to your son, is important to a man, that man is up to no good with women. That man wants access to multiple women who he's not committed to, and he doesn't want the responsibility. So I would think about that, especially as a girl dad, but as a dad of boys as well. I would think about that. But no matter any way you slice it, the bottom line is that as a father, it is very, very odd to be thinking about your baby girl and her future sex life. And then to be thinking about whether she will have the ability to easily end the life of your own grandchild. Because from the moment of fertilization, that is your grandchild. All of the DNA required to grow into the grandchild that you would love and hold as a baby, as a toddler, that you would love as a teenager, that you would love throughout your whole life, that's present from fertilization. And again, while I don't want you to force your daughter to do anything, I would hope that that would be important to you, the life of your own grandchild. And I would also hope that you would raise your daughter in such a way that the life of your own grandchild, the life of her child, would be significant to her.